Hi there, my name is Emily,
Hi, I'm Diane.
and we are provisional psychologists from Monash University. We're working in conjunction with the Centre of Care and Wellbeing to develop this video on acceptance and healing.
So today we're going to talk to you about acceptance and healing and how they are related, and provide you with some strategies that can help you to cultivate acceptance and healing in your life. Emily, can you tell me a little bit more about what acceptance is about?
I can. So acceptance is when you're able to connect with the present and all the sensations, thoughts, and emotions that present moment holds. Acceptance is when you're able to experience this without trying to change, avoid, or fight.
How does that relate to the journey of grief?
So you may have heard that acceptance is a stage that you reach following the loss of a loved one, and there's some kind of finality to acceptance. But the process of grief is varied, different for everyone, and there's no definitive timeline to it. So some people find it more helpful to think of acceptance as a state that one can enter into. It's something that may come with the passage of time, or it's something that you can cultivate with your actions, but you can't force it.
So what you're saying is that it is possible that someone might not be ready to move towards acceptance, and if so, what does this look like if that's the case?
So grief can be an overwhelming process, and it's natural to not want to connect with the pain or the feelings of losing control, anger, yearning. And these are about desperately wanting to change what you can't. So it might be overwhelming sadness that blocks everything else. Resistance could involve holding on to feelings like these, because the idea of accepting the loss of your loved one, that might be a frightening prospect, or it might feel like a betrayal to their memory.
So if I'm feeling some resistance to the process of grief, then this might mean that I'm not ready right now to move forwards towards acceptance and healing, and that's okay.
Yeah, so the paradox of resistance is like a storm in the sea. So you've been suddenly thrown overboard into the crashing waves of the ocean. And fighting against these waves can be exhausting. And sometimes the best way to weather a storm is to stop resisting and to just float. So I think it's important to remember that being in a state of acceptance does not mean that you no longer feel the pain or loss. And it doesn't mean that your loved one has been forgotten. Instead, it means the loss doesn't overwhelm you in day-to-day life.
So what you're saying is that acceptance is the opposite of resistance, and sometimes it can help to go with the flow because it can help in the processing of your grief.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you were going to tell me about healing and how it's different to acceptance, how it relates to acceptance.
Yeah. So Emily, healing is about coming to understand the loss, being at peace with what has happened and the changes that have occurred in your life, and beginning to feel able to move forward once again with your life without your loved one by your side. So there is no timeline to healing. You'll know within yourself when the time is right for you. Healing doesn't mean an immediate return to happiness or back to the way that life was before, because you've been through big changes with the loss of your loved one. So healing is a creation of a new way forward, while still honouring your loved one, but giving yourself room for positive growth.
So it sounds like healing is more future focused. It's creating something new.
Yeah. Healing is a little bit like a mosaic. So when there is a death, there are many broken pieces that need to be carefully pieced back together. And it gives us the ability to create a whole new picture that has the potential to be just as strong and as beautiful as before. So Emily, how do you think that healing and acceptance are related?
So healing is like a mosaic that you put together, and acceptance is like weathering a storm.
Yeah.
So you need a level of acceptance to create the space to heal. So being connected to the present moment will help you realize what you need for acceptance and healing. And part of the healing process is taking the time to focus on your needs so that you can understand what is important for you to accept your changed world. And you might want to ask yourself what strengths you do have at the moment, or some that you might have used in the past that could be useful right now to help you get through this difficult time. And once you've thought about what your needs and your strengths are, what are some of the ways you know of that can help you move towards healing?
So, Emily, there's 3 ways to move towards healing that we're going to talk about today, and they are commemorating, creativity, and connection. So, let's start with commemorating. So, commemorating is about celebrating the memory of your loved one, and it might involve creating something in their memory.
Oh, so how would you commemorate a loved one?
So, for me to commemorate my loved one, I might choose to plant a tree or create a garden with them in mind. So, a place where I can go and reflect. There is actually a Japanese concept of forest bathing called Shin-ryoku for reflecting among trees, and studies have shown that spending mindful, intentional time in amongst trees is really good for your health and happiness.
And so that kind of brings us back to acceptance and being present in the moment. So being present in nature, something that you might do to commemorate a loved one.
Yeah.
So I don't have much of a green thumb, but I do like making art.
Hmm.
Um,
And that's okay. If you like making art, so you could go down the creativity path where you could get creative with art to remember and honour your loved one and the life that they lived. So you could create a photo journal of your progress towards acceptance, or you could write in the journal to reflect your feelings and recall memories. And this leads me on to connection, which is also very important. Um, so, if you are a member of a family, you will each move through the process of healing and acceptance at your own pace. And it could help for you to communicate openly, share memories together. So, something like a journal could be useful to pass on their wisdom or favourite quotes and stories. Emily, how do you think this might work for you?
so what I like about that, it kind of brings together commemoration, creativity, and connection with your family. So I like that idea. Something I might do would be to sort of keep old traditions that you might have with your family and your loved ones, but also make new ones to represent moving forward. And these new traditions can bring the family members a level of comfort. So one way we might do it in my family, we always have gotten together for each other's birthdays. So now every birthday we light a candle for the person who's no longer with us. So that's one way we're sort of keeping up the old tradition, but we're adding a new tradition, having that candle there.
Emily, that's a fantastic way to keep connected with your family and to remember your loved one. I really like that idea. Um, so for those of you who are watching, it is important to note that no method or strategy is going to be an automatic way to healing. Take the time to think about what's really important for you, remembering to give yourself the time and the space and the self-compassion along the journey.
Yeah, that's right. And the Centre of Care and Wellbeing do provide lots of opportunities for individual and community wellbeing to help you move towards acceptance and healing. So there's a peaceful garden, movement and meditation classes, art classes, community support. And there's also a coffee shop there so you can take a break.
Yeah, great. Let's go and have a coffee. Thank you for joining us today and watching our video. We hope we've provided you with some useful ideas to help you through your journey through grief.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.